Hello. Good evening. Well, I'd like to tell you that I am very happy to be here again. I don't remember how many times I was here in different years. But today, or in this evening, we will study a different issue, a different matter. I am a cardiologist, but because of the work in the Spiritist Society during many decades, because when I was born, my parents, they were Spiritists. So I was learning during all my life with them about Spiritism in general. I am an internal medicine practitioner and cardiologist, and I would like to share with you the experience to care patients that comes to us in the fraternal environment in the Spiritist Society. And I am changing my specialization from cardiology and internal medicine to psychiatry. Because the circumstances, because I am reading, I am studying, because our group have many and many different patients during all that decades with many different diagnoses in psychiatry. It's a very interesting experience because I don't have the intention to be one psychiatrist, but I am transforming my life because of the number of patients with mental diseases that comes to the Spiritist Society. So all of us in that group, many doctors of different specializations, we need to study and to practice a different kind of psychiatry. I think that we'll need to do in the future some kind of workshop to study and to share many and many things, or today till midnight. Do you understand? So I would like to welcome all of you. I would like to welcome all of the colleagues and friends in internet. But we need to begin this talk. As you can see, we are linking in the title the idea of madness and obsession, because in this experience, all of our patients with mental disease, all of them, they have very important spiritual problems. In one idea of common or conventional psychiatry, my colleagues use medications, antidepressive medication to depression, and many other aspects of pharmacology in psychiatry disease in different diagnoses. Our paradigm is now some kind of idea of mental disease related to brain problems, from the neurons, from the biochemical aspect of the brain, in a different situation from normal brains. But this is paradigm involved with the materialism. This is one mechanicist paradigm. And we are changing our minds about that. We need to do it because the circumstances are inviting us to do this. Do you understand? We are compelled, to do that. We do not can stay passive to that circumstances. And we need to do different things. All of our patients, when we open the case in one spiritist approach, we detect spirits. As the same aspect when we open a case of cancer or different biological, medical problems and diagnoses. All of them, in their cases, we have spirits linked to the patient now, but in relationship created in past lives. And one aspect, one rule, when we care of that spirits that are living during many and many centuries, maybe, in the spiritual realm, when we care of them, 1 or 100, all of them related to that case, the patient begins to be better. Always. This is one rule or one law, one key to understand in a new fashion the origin of mental disease. And this is the first live. We had 200. Do you understand the idea of midnight? Well, here some simple considerations. Mental illness is a condition of the mind that alters thoughts, feelings, or behavior of the individual, the patient, the person. Sadness, for example, melancholy, fury, or temporary fear, this is of short duration. This is not mental disease. This is very short. But when we have extreme changes in one's feelings, attitudes, altered by or for years or for the rest of life, we have mental illness. This is different. All of us, we have ups and downs. This is another thing. We are dealing with psychiatry, mental diseases. And we have many and many different diagnoses. We have one statistic from Health World Organization. From 10 years ago, 60% of humanity are mental disease, including, obviously, simple things. For example, anxiety disturbances. Brazil is the first one in statistic in terms of anxiety disturbances. But in all over the world, we have a big problem in terms of anxiety. But this is a very different aspect. If we compare with schizophrenia, with depressive disease, with suicidal attempt, or when we are carrying our children with autistic spectrum disease or mental problem. We will share about this experience now. Unhappiness with oneself, family, unacceptable social behavior as consequences of the mental illnesses in general mode. Madness, psychiatry, 2 points, mental illness, mental disorders, psychopathy, emotional illness as synonyms. And we need to understand that in the Word, we can see different patients independently of race, age, creed, sex, gender, socio-economic level. We have all the diagnoses in all the different aspects of human life. In terms of the incarnated people, but when we are doing our mediumistic meetings in Brazil or in Milano, Italy, in Austin, Texas, sharing about spiritual approach in mediumistic meeting with teams related of other cities around the world, we see the same, independently of the place where we are in that occasion. So I would like to share with you the idea that in the spiritual reality, we have billions and billions of human people. We have near the double in the other side of life. Do you understand? This is one information from the Spirit Emmanuel in a book very beautiful by the automatic writing from Francisco Cândido Xavier. We have 7.6 billion here in this side, but we have 12.4 in the other side. Do you understand? And many of the people that are now in the other side, in the spirituality, they are mental trouble people. Do you understand? If one of us, we discarnate with schizophrenia or with alcoholism, we will begin the new time of life in the spiritual world with the same, because we are in the same aspect. If I discarnate with cancer, lung cancer, for example, or with acute myocardial infarction, with sudden death, or with myocardial disability, I will go to the spiritual world with the same situation. I will not change just because I am in a discarnation and I was now in the spiritual reality. Do you understand? So we have many and many spirits to care. And the good spirits in a higher level of spirituality, they cannot help everybody in the spiritual fashion, caring of all of them, because they have a very different vibration reality. But the mediumship group, because that groups, they are in the intermediary situation between darkness, where all of that mental illness people are, and the good spirits in one idea of heaven. Do you understand? The group are some kind of the best opportunity and the best lab to love that spirit and change the life and the prognosis of mental diseases in the incarnated people. Do you know, I will offer to you one box of chocolates. If you tell me, who is this? Who is that? I forget tell that when your answer is wrong, you give me the chocolates. Do you understand? So take care. This is Philippe Pinel. This is as a father of psychiatry. And we remember that the people with mental disease in the past, 200 years ago, they are put in prison and in a very suffering situation in the streets and in community. And Philippe Pinel changed this approach, putting those people in free situation. When we analyze the work in this fashion, we can remember Pinel because we are doing now in the Spirit Society one spiritual liberation of that patient. Do you understand? In terms of freedom, in terms of the situation of that spirits influencing the patients. We can cut the relationship between them. The people and spirits from the spiritual world and the people with mental disease in this side. So we understand our medicine today, our psychiatry. We understand that we have a very nice medicine in the spiritual reality. We have doctors, we have nurses, we have many and many professions that comes to another world, and they are continuing their job in the other side, but with another vision about diseases in general terms. We have patients from both realms, the spirituality and here. Many hospitals, in the big hospital, the earth is a big hospital. The people that are well in terms of their health, they don't come here. Only in some sporadic mission to help us in our spiritual development. But in terms of the common reality, all of us, we have spiritual problems to resolve during the different reincarnations. We can do PET scan, we can do ultrasound, we can do computerized tomography. We can open the images of our body, but this is to physical body aspect. In mental disease, frequently we can do the same exams and we will not find many different from normal brain aspect. Do you understand? Why? Because we do not have some technology to detect some very little differences. For example, when I care of one autistic boy, frequently boys, and I do one resonance, it is normal, commonly. But when the children die, we can see the difference in terms of histology, in terms of the tissues in brain. We have different corpus callosum. We have different mini columns. We have different many things, but they are not detected by the image exams. So we need to understand too, as the depressive people with less neurotransmitters, serotonin, and many others. This is consequence of the spiritual problems. Do you understand? In common psychiatry today, we understand that those differences are the causes, but they are not the causes. They are consequences of the spiritual problems. Do you understand? Do you know that if I try to take off the medication of one woman with depression disease for 3 years, when I take out, the depressive symptoms will appear again. Why? Because drugs, we do not change the origin, because the drugs, they not change the spiritual reality. Do you understand? Only the biochemical consequences. So let's go ahead, because midnight. Well, our Astral City, Nosso Lar, and many other colonies. Do you remember André Luiz, a hospital in the colony? So this is common in all our cultures, in the spiritual terms in the world. Let's go. I would like to point the importance of mediumship to this care of our patients. In terms of mental, but in terms of biological disease too. It's the same approach. We need to find with mediums, with clairvoyance, do you understand? The spirits, and caring of them, the people begins to be better. In clinical point of view and a psychiatry point of view, dependently of the diagnosis. Frequently, many diagnoses together. And we have patients with physical problems and spiritual and mental problems together. We are dealing now with an idea for the future in terms of Spiritist medicine. In this basis, we care with the mediumship in disobsession meetings, and the fluid therapy, the passes, the magnetized water, and many other possibilities to offer one different substance of caring related with love. Let's go. We would like to remember that the Spirit Society or Center, we have here one place to receive the people that are suffering in the world. And we need to be prepared to care of all of them. We need to study with them, but before we need to care of the medical problems, because they are coming. During all the decades of the Spiritist movement in Brazil and outside and here, we can see the Spiritist group trying to help the people that are with many different diseases. Look at this. This is from a very nice, important magazine in medicine from London, from England, The Lancet. This is a recent review. This is our ward in different ages of the community and the number of cases. Here we have depression. From very soon in life and to all the other side. Do you understand? And here we have all the more common diseases in psychiatry, including the problems with the childhood. Because in childhood today, in this world, in our world, we have depression, we have suicide attempt, and we have many other problems. And we have autism. It's a very important challenge to psychiatry today, to humanity. Autism is a very hard spiritual disease. Do you understand? We need to see some examples to discuss with you. When we care in terms of autism, this is our word. In the past, we don't know nothing about autism because we have 1, 3, 10 cases during a year in one city and one in a hospital, a different situation from now. Here we can see the exponential elevation of papers, studies, and cases around the world. For example, I will talk something about fluid therapy in medicine. A few months ago, we needed to begin a group of fluid therapy to the children. And in the majority of the cases, autism, boys and girls. Doing one team prepared to care of the little boys and little girls with mental disease. We need to understand and to remember that we have a very big challenge in this world. All days, we count now by minutes. We are dealing with people and notices about discarnation of people of the ages, of different ages. And the link of suicide prevention is with mental disease and depression disease. We need to study as spiritists, independently of our profession or our common studies. We need, as common people, to understand and to study not only one idea of spiritual approach, but we need to hear the people. We need to share. We need compassion. We need empathy. And the neighbor inside our family, because in the next moment, the people may be dead. Do you understand? And all of us, we are invited to understand by study, by talking about, to be in conditions to detect one case, especially with depression disease. Well, I would like to share with you one idea, one personal idea. 11 years ago, I understand with one impulse of one psychiatrist from Buenos Aires, in terms of, he suggests me, Sergio, you need to share your experience with the colleagues of that area. But as a cardiologist or internal medicine practitioner, I was very far from that environment. So I, with this colleague from Argentina, we begin to see where we can share that experience, that psychiatry with me in Rio de Janeiro. After he stayed with us in some weeks, he told to me, share this with the colleagues of psychiatry. The first one was here, 2008, in Beijing, China. I sent one resume, one abstract about the experience of the Spirit Center in terms of the care of mental diseased patients. For example, October 2008, Beijing, China, Rio de Janeiro, São Paulo, New York, Narita, Beijing. Near 2 days to go and other 2 days to come back. So this is the first spiritual approach of mental diseases. This is the title slide. Beijing, National Institute of Health, Allan Kardec, to introduce the idea about the codifier, Allan Kardec, to my colleagues. 3,500 specialists in this area from all over the world. And this is some slides from that occasion. The incidence and prevalence of mental diseases are growing through the world, and their causes are not yet clearly established in spite of recent advances in modern psychiatry. Do you understand how to share one different aspect, one different approach to people of very different specialization? And the therapeutic outcomes are disappointing in many cases. It's not true. We studied 36. This is a pilot study, a very simple, as a grain. Do you understand? Of variable mental diseases that fulfill a diagnosis criteria that looked for spiritual healing in the center of spiritual treatment. Rio de Janeiro, from one date to the other. 3 years. Diagnosis: depression, 11, panic syndrome, 9, schizophrenia, 6, autism, 6, bipolar disease, 5. 5 and 5. Techniques: by using mediumistic techniques or the human ability to enter spiritual reality. Do you understand that I needed to put this idea because the people, the colleagues, they don't know nothing about that. In an objective and clear manner, we have come in contact with spirits. Do you understand what is this? In China, but China, it was only the place of the meeting. That important is the cosmopolitan meeting in terms of world psychiatry, psychotherapy. So we have come in contact with the spirits and spiritual contexts in the spiritual world, linked with each patient that have a well-defined disturbed situation. We can see them and talk to them very clearly through the mediums. This is, in that environment, one species of revolution. The people look at me with the big eyes because it was very different. So the diagnostic approach to understand the spiritual aspect of each case happened with the aid of a team of doctor mediums. We have many doctors in that group because I stayed in university for many years, and frequently my students, they come to the Spiritual Society to develop mediumship, to study spiritism in that group. So in all cases, the spirits were of human beings who had lived their lives such as we live ours now. We needed to be as clear as I could talking about spirituality. They were now in a spiritual reality that is a world parallel to ours. They interfered psychically in the lives of the patients, causing harm and maintaining the symptoms of specific mental disease. The ties between these spirits and the patients were established in previous lives and did in old reincarnations. In a non-controlled prospective study of 36 patients with mental disease mentioned above, by using mediumistic sensitivity or mediumship, we are able to see and to receive those spirits, to act in a psychotherapeutic manner such that we are able to undo the spiritual ties of each case. This is disobsession. This resulted in a clear improvement of a significant percentage of the cases, 86, and even resulted in a complete and sustained recovery of mental health of many of them. So we have one little table with the different diagnoses: clear benefit, no clear benefit, cure. With one meeting, 2 or 3. One mediumistic meeting may be curative, but frequently, dependently of the big problems in the past and the spiritual situation, we need 1 or 2 more to obtain the good results. After Beijing, this is here, a World Congress of Psychiatry in Madrid, September, 5 years ago. We did the same. This, I am here, accepted oral presentation, the resume of the abstract, the influence of discarnated people in mental disease and its respective approach. Another seed or grain. Here my room, the idea and many problems, because I received this from the scientific committee. This resume is here in the abstract of that Congress. The certificate of participation. And we are now, where? Last year, I received, we thank you for your interest in Ciudad do México, Mexico City, in last September. Another seed certification. And now, August, next, in Lisbon, the same. The email accepting the abstract about the same experience. Do you understand the idea? Because in those different World Psychiatry Congress, we have 6,000 colleagues, psychologists, psychotherapy, psychanalysts, and psychiatrists. All of the people interested in mental disease in the world. One each year. I don't know in the future, but I think I need to present the merit is of the Spiritism, of Allan Kardec. Do you understand? The merit is of the mediums that are trying to help those people, offering their contribution to the health in mental terms to the people. And we need to understand that psychiatry is growing up, stepping up, because the scientific committee, they are accepting this nowadays. I don't know 20 years ago, I don't know, but in those years we can see. Well, to remember, this is one meeting with people, not only with mental diseases, but with all of important problems in medicine, a fluid therapy in the Spirit Center in Rio de Janeiro. And I remember, this is the one idea of nosso lar, Astral City. And we remember that André Luiz received the same in the other side of life. We need to remember that we do not have many different important differences. We have, but because we are going to the spiritual reality with our diseases, we will need the same in the other life. Well, I think I will present to you 35 cases till midnight. Do you understand? Tomorrow, we will work tomorrow? I don't think so. Yeah? So, we have the time. Let me show you. This is a recent patient that arrived because one sharing. My friend now, Lucas, his mother, Juliana, okay. This case comes to us to a help, obviously. We open the case. Do you remember that we open individually our cases? Because we cannot care with some correct approach, opening in general terms one mediumistic meeting. We need, when we open the meeting, we open after the beginning case by case. Because as a doctor, I need to see the difference between before and after, including to opening again when we need to do that by medical criteria, because this is a very severe case of autism. As all of the diseases, we have light, moderate, severe cases. Maybe lupus, maybe cancer, maybe cardiovascular disease, maybe psychiatry disease. Depression, light, moderate, and severe, and including with suicide risk. We have some escalonamento, is this? Escalation of degrees of severity. We open the case and we find a very important situation in the past in many people. We care of people from one war in the past, 200 years ago in Europe. And we benefit all that victims from both armies that are doing the war between them. Do you understand? And here we do not receive one spirit after the other one, and then we use some techniques involved with fields, magnetic fields, with light, spiritual light and love. And with this, we change the reality in the other side of the life. And we detach that spirits of the suffering, we care of them, and we rescue them and guide them to one different situation in the spiritual life. And this change the life of that spirits, because it's something like this, they are waiting the help from the good people and the good spirits that are supervising our spiritual work. This is one different situation, very calm, kissing the mother of the mother, grandmother. Here the mother. And he is one of our patients in fluid therapy all Thursdays in Copacabana, Rio de Janeiro. Because the autism, they change, do you remember? They change the brain in a microscopic aspect. And the good fluids, they will contribute to a healing process in material brain and obviously in the perispiritic brain. Do you remember? Our friends, lovely friends. Here, Guilherme from Salvador, Bahia. Do you remember? Salvador is the main city of one province in Brazil named Bahia. The mother comes to us bringing the case to our group by internet, by WhatsApp. Do you understand? So this is the first video because I suggest father and mother to record some important moment of the patient because I need to understand what is going on. Because I need to put, I have 200 of cases waiting one chance to be a patient of that group from 30 countries, different countries. Because today we have conditions to share with people around the world because of Facebook and Messenger and WhatsApp, for example. She take the images and send to me. He is not hungry. Do you understand? This is common at night and during the day. With ups and downs, ups and downs. Do you understand? 24 hours a day, all days, weeks, months, years. Frequently, the autistic patients do this kind of auto-flagellation, maybe hurting himself. Mother or father taking the videos to share with me. Because I offer the images to the mediums. And then they immediately they enter the spiritual environment in the past lives of that patients. Maybe this life, but frequently the past lives. We enter the case, a big war. Again, war and war and war. Victims. And we need to help that people. This is the first video after the first mediunistic meeting to help him.
Gui, dá um tchau pra mamãe. Dá um tchau pra mamãe. Dá um tchau pra mamãe.
Gui,
dá um tchau pra mamãe. Vá. Assim. Agora, dá um tchau. Agora, dá um tchau. Isso.
He is one autist, maybe for the life. But when we do this, we care, and the symptoms and the clinical manifestations goes down.
Sérgio, tudo bom? Tô gravando para desejar uma boa noite.
Tô gravando para desejar uma boa noite.
Dá um tchau para o doutor Sérgio, Gui. Dá
um tchau para o doutor Sérgio, Gui. Aê!
Do you understand the feeling of the mother and the father?
Tchau, beijo, doutor Sérgio.
Well, 1 hour of talk. I think we can stop now, do a little break, and till midnight after the break, we will choose what we'll do, okay? 39 cases. This is the third. See you later. Thank you.
We will break for no more than 10 to 15 minutes, and then we'll come back so we can continue, okay?
Thank you again. Well, so thank you, everyone. I would like to share with you another case. A little boy again. Let me take my, here. This is a case from Italy, from Rome. The mother is Brazilian, the father Italian. Then, looking internet, they find some videos in the YouTube about the same approach in different situations, in groups and meetings sharing spirituality and medicine. And then she wrote to me. This is Rafa G. Raffaelli, 9-year-old autistic, with the best of psychiatry in Europe, the best, but many different treatments without success. This by WhatsApp. Troubled relationships, it's wrong, of the parents moving to a divorce because of the difficulties, because of the medical and symptoms of that very severe autism. A brother and a sister of Raffaelli with mental conditions, but they are not diseased. The mother reached me after watch a talk online. I have been experiencing suicide thoughts. Please help me. And today my thought is either me or him. Do you understand? The father talking Italian with me. The first video that she sent. He's the father.
Bisogna essere bravissimo. Stai in silenzio, stai in silenzio, fai bravo, ok? Ok? Lei lo porti bene, sì, questo lei ti porti bene, aspetti in silenzio.
In the car during a wait. Do you know and do you understand the same kind of manifestations? A very important agitation. We care with that group, with very different mediums, all of them women, one or two of them medical doctors, but this is not important because what we need is the mediumship to share with the spiritual reality, to find the spirits, to understand, to see the environment, to see the past lives, the past bad situations of each one of that patients. This, again, another war. Many and many different victims. A very hard and suffering situation. The same, because many and many different spirits, we need to utilize fields. In one moment in the future, we can study about ideoplasty, the mental thoughts and creation in the spiritual reality. And we can study with Allan Kardec and different books, and we can use André Luiz talking about ideoplasty. We used this one. So we can create aspects in the spiritual reality, and we can involve that suffering spirits in that love and light field. Do you understand? Because this is the feeling of all of the components of that meeting. To share, to care, and to love. We can see the modification during the meeting by clairvoyance. We are doing some monitorization of the situation. We only stop the case when all of that spirits are rescued and guided to a good sphere of happy life in the spiritual reality. All of them. So then we close. As we open first, we close now. Because after this, we need to care more one another patient during 4 hours of meeting. Because we need time to do this. Because we need to do some with the proper mechanisms of helping. And so, as humans, we need time. Frequently, in one meeting, we care 6 cases or 3. So we need to be worried to develop many different groups to do the same during all the days of the week. Because we have a word to care. Because we are so small in comparing our drama, our universal drama in terms of medicine and mental diseases. we do the first meeting, and I received this one. Today, we are celebrating 2 weeks without any crisis. My gratitude. Another day, a few weeks after, we have passed 4 weeks without any crisis by Rafa. And then I ask Fabiana, the name of the mother, please do a new video recording.
Raffo,
To
ti traffo. Un parco molto bello. Un parco molto bello. Dimmi un po'. Dimmi un po'. Mamma, com'è sto parco? Dì a mamma, com'è sto
Come si
parco?
sta?
Mamma, guarda mamma. Ti piace? Manda un bacio. Manda un bacio. Dici che mi ami? Dici che mi ami? Anch'io ti amo.
the sister,
Anch'io ti amo. Ciao, Rebby.
Emanuela. 3 months ago, I was invited to do one lecture to Spiritists in different cities in Italy. And then the mother comes to the presentation in one of that cities. And I was doing the same as I am doing now. I was talking to that people, 300 people, all of them Italians. Some of them doctors, the majority Spiritists. So I finished the presentation. Fabiana comes to me to talk to the people about some kind of witness of the experience as a mother of Rafa before and after. And I give her some minutes to do that. And then she talks with tears because of the change. She is the mother. She sent to me by WhatsApp. And here in that meeting, do you know the similarity, this and this? Well, some days she told to me, he is very happy, completely different.
Vai. Mandali un bacetto, no? Mandali un bacetto,
This is to
no?
me. Do you know? You can see the different aspect of the expression. Well, this is Rafa, my friend. Well, this is a different case. As this is another case of autism, the first one cared by that group, I think I will share with you different aspects. This is another case. Well, this is another case of autism in the Spiritist Society in Copacabana, Rio. A very hard case. Maybe the more impressive to us. 6-year-old Rio, a case brought to us by a person who attended one of our talks in Barra da Tijuca, Rio de Janeiro. Severe autism, characteristic symptoms accentuated. First session of fluid therapy, that night, the night of that photo, the mediums felt unwell prior to application of treatment. Many of the mediums, because of the spiritual environment, coming with her inside the room of the meeting. Intense psychomotor agitation, lack of speech, walking with difficulty, involuntary movements, screams with no apparent reason. Slavery in Brazil, a very severe overseer. sugar and coffee plantation, torture and death. Do you understand that when we find one very severe case of each diagnosis in medicine, we need to suppose bad things in the past. But now, with Spiritism, we have the tools to care. This is a different opportunity on earth. This is very interesting to suppose maybe a historical moment in the history of psychiatry and in the history of the spirit movement on earth. This is a supposition, but now we have the elements to think about that in those terms. May I talk? This may be the last one because I think we should share the questions that you can have. Deborah, 44 years old, Brazilian, married with 2 children, director of a multinational firm. Symptoms of depression started 6 months prior. Insomnia and suicidal thoughts during the final month. Significant weight gain during this period. Treatment with antidepressants in correct doses without notable improvement. This is frequently the same. This is one illustrative case because we can see this evolution many and many times. I am a cardiologist, but I am being a psychiatrist. Do you understand? Her spouse brought her to the Spirit Center, suggested disobsession and fluid therapy, because both they are the main aspect of Spiritist approach in medicine. We have in Brazil this, but in the future we will have in the hospitals and many hospitals around the world fluid therapy groups inside the hospitals and mediumship groups inside the hospitals too. Do you understand? We can see that in the future, to the future. Disobsession. The mediums observed 2 spirits in tiny fetal form located in the abdomen, solar chakra, with severe injuries and bleeding, unconscious. Another spirit communicated through a medium via psychophony and was very aggressive, full of hate for the patient, wanting revenge. The spirit felt that the patient murdered her by way of abortion in this incarnation, induced suicidal thoughts in the patient. And both the first referred here, the same victims of 2 different procedures of provoked abortions, in the induction of abortion. 3 cases in the same life. 2 unconscious and 1 conscious and active. And talking to me about his suffering. And I try to help utilizing the fraternal dialogue and prayer and vibration as passes to change the anatomic perispiritic situation. And we can do the benefit, it is immediately in the spiritual world. And as a doctor, I know about anatomy and physiology, and I can do idioplastically a new body if I need. Do you understand? Because of uterine curettage, we have some fragmentation of the body. This is a discarnation procedure. This is a crime in terms of spirituality point of view. So we can see consequences in terms of spirits and in terms of the people related to that procedure. Maybe the mother, the father, the boyfriend, the doctor, the nurse. Do you understand? Fraternal dialogue with ideas of forgiveness, healing for emotional and physical recuperation. Physical in terms of perispirit, obviously, because perispirit is material, so physical in these terms. Forecast of a happy future and rebirth. The spirit was referred to a hospital in a spiritual colony located in a superior plane to continue with treatment, but not with the same mother, because without conditions. Risk to repeat the procedure. The two others were detached from the patient's body, received fluidic treatment. Healing took place immediately too. Still unconscious, they were taken to the same hospital. I prefer do not wake up, because this will be done by the good spirits in that sphere. Do you understand? Deborah's symptoms progressively improved, and in 3 weeks, she returned to normal life. Her psychiatrist reduced the dose of medication and stopped it altogether after 4 months. The symptoms of depression never returned. She was cured. Diagnosis: severe depression gave rise to simple spirit attachment, which induced 3 abortions in this present life. Another one, 39. Two Leticias, 2 different Leticias. What do you like to do? We can share new cases, or I think we have only 15 minutes to your questions. What do you want? Let us stop here. I understand that in the future we will come back and we can share new cases. But I think it's important the idea, the feelings, the experience of one group, but may be the same with many different groups, because this is a seed only, a seed of light, I understand. But we need to study Spiritism. We need to develop mediumistic groups to do the same. All of that are very simple, very human. It's not magic, it's simple. Talk, see, and hear, and adapt the spiritual and spiritist knowledge to that human situations of that spirits in the spiritual realm. That's it. Okay, let me see. Oh, just to remember 2 different aspects from Spiritist books. It is also necessary about this obsession that this chaff is found in order that the harvest angels free them from this planet of suffering, and so they may come to be firmly established in their place in the New Jerusalem of the new era. Do you understand? When we have some problems, we have very bad spirits that link their minds to the other as a chain of perversity. This is in English. Do you understand? We are talking in terms of victims, changing the position. The suffering patient now, he or she was the persecuted. Do you understand? But frequently they are acting with bad propositions and feelings and thoughts because we have different spirits and the abysm. So, that spirits, Pascal, Blaise Pascal, talking about one day, one epoch, we will see the transmigration of that so bad spirits to another different planet. And so we will have another condition to live here, doing our development in a fast way, faster than now, because we will not have the big pressure in terms of mental influence to all over, incarnated ones and discarnated ones, because we have levels of life. But this is an issue or a matter to future meetings and studies with us. Okay? The last one. The treatment of cases of spirit attachment is not considered eccentric work in our circles of faith. It simply consists of a continuity of the efforts to save all the misguided, starting in the luminous hands of Jesus, Emmanuel, our daily bread. And the last one, without charity, there is no salvation. Do you understand the relationship between those understandings and aspect of we can study in doctrine, in Spiritist doctrine? So, we can see eventually your doubts or your questions and contributions to the study this night. Thank you.
Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you, my friends.
So we have until midnight. Not really. But we would like to open up for questions, comments, as contributions that perhaps we can bring to this topic, which is quite a bit, and really connect with this reality of our lives, unfortunate reality. But beyond the unfortunate piece of it, as Dr. Thiesen is saying, there is salvation through charity, through hard work, to dedication. So we would like to hear from you. If you have any questions, raise your hand, and I'll bring you the microphone, and we'll have him answer.
So I was talking to Dr. Sergio about this. What impressed me is, and he showed in the Italian case, like he didn't know the boy in the beginning, and then the video came, and in one time, so you just illustrated what I was asking, but what impresses me is the distance. So from Italy to Brazil, and look the vibration, how important it is, because sometimes you have people in another country suffering from a myriad of problems, and you think, yeah, I'm going to pray, but I'm so distant. But now look what the intention, the vibration, and the way you conduct. I think this is very innovative, very new, very, but I wanted just you to tell, like, what is the sequence when you receive a case like that, and how do you present it to the medians? You show the movie? That's what I wanted to know.
Yes.
Thank you.
I have all the videos and photographs in my cell phone. And what I need, what our group of work need, is name, complete name, date of birth or the age, the address, the complete and clear the address, and not always, but it's good to have one photograph and frequently, in case of autism children, the video. In another fashion, for example, one woman with breast cancer, we don't need the video. Do you understand? It's interesting, one photograph, because those information, they easily, the symptom, the resonance of the incarnated mediumship group with the case, independently where on earth the case is. Do you understand? We have cases in Sydney, Australia, in the other side of the world, because I have visited Australia, New Zealand many times, talking about the same. So when that people remember, because a new case of important disease, they share with me, trying to have one benefit. I need to program, because we have many different cases arriving each week. And I need frequently the high mage to be to do the choosing with justice by medical criteria, obviously. So, independently of the spatial distance, we have conditions to do, including Sydney, Australia. Is the extreme, different, opposite position on Earth. Because we are dealing with mental things, and thoughts and feelings, it's not related with the common time equation. This is a different time equation. Do you understand? But I think the best interesting aspect is we understand the thoughts and the thinking as one electromagnetic force and electromagnetic field and electromagnetic interaction. But when we understand electromagnetism is the final discovery of the classic physics, the Newtonian physics, in the border from the old and important classic physics and the new one with Max Planck, with Einstein and Dirac and many others. I am a physicist too. So I study physics to understand nature in precise language, mathematics. So we understand now that the thoughts are quantum mechanics, and it's different. For example, when we love, when we think, and in many people, and the people think in terms of our life, we establish one aspect of contact. Because of characteristic of our thought, human thoughts, we understand one entanglement and collapse of wave function in terminology of modern physics. So, may I put in evidence one experiment, one physics from Mexico City. 30 years ago, invite two friends to think in one another during 30 minutes, and put one with an EEG electrodes and the other two in one room in one building, and the other one in different room in different building. Do you remember the light flashes in the night, stroboscopic light? One of them was stimulated. We name it in medicine evoked potassium. So when we register the EEG during the flashing with open eyes, without no one communication, the EEG of the friend have the same response. This is completely unbelievable 30 years ago. So Jacobo Grimberg Zilberbaum was trying to demonstrate by his supposition that the thoughts are from the non-locality of modern physics. And this is true. So when we are together, we are linked by quantum mechanics links. Do you understand? Independently of wires or everything. So when we have the name, the photograph, eventually, the age and the address, I have feelings and thoughts and history in my hand. And I invite the good spirits automatically to help the case. This medicine helps that case specifically, and all of the groups of spirits linked to the suffering. This is the preventive medicine for the future, because we are carrying the spirits before they reincarnate. And if they do not have time to a recovery, they will transfer their problems because of their histories to the mind and the brain and the physical, the cellular world of the new body. Do you understand? It's simple. It's simple. So the answer is, we do not need to be near the case. We do not need to invite the baby from Sydney to be in Rio to receive this kind of benefit. Obviously, in terms of mediumistic disobsession, but in terms of fluid, in terms of passes, in terms of therapeutic paths, so it's different. We need to invite the people to enter the Spirit Society in the city where he or she is living now, as a complement of the disobsession meeting. And frequently we ask to the mother and father to pray to the baby, or to the husband, or to the son, or to the girl, and to the daughter. This is a very nice compliment. But if I am in Rio and we do with alone or with the group a prayer to the people that are outside Brazil, we have beautiful effects. Because we are dealing with forces, invisible forces, but we can check their respective effects. For example, we have a group in Rio, a closed Facebook group, and because of the suffering in terms of collective dramas, all Sundays in one specific time, we do one prayer to Syria, to Yemen, to Mozambique, to Brazil, to the feminicídio in Brazil. Do you understand? We have now 600 people in 12 countries. So we are together in terms of quantum mechanics, entanglement, trying to help from our homes. Do you understand? It's very fine, and I invite you. The name of the group in Portuguese, Prece pela Humanidade. That's it. If you go to your Facebook and you would like to share, I put you, all of you, inside the group, and all of you will help us, helping the people. Prece pela Humanidade.
Thank
Prayer
you.
for humanity.
Next comment, next question.
Thank you, Leo. Thank you, Dr.
You're
Sergio. So the cases, the successful cases that you shared with us were of children, autistic children. I have a very good friend with a 17-year-old with severe autism here in our area. Do you have any such good experience with adults?
17?
17 years old, yes.
No problem. One aspect as a rule or as a law, as soon as possible, take the case and send to that group or another group. Do you understand? Because during the years when the time is passing, we have some kind of sedimentation of the bad things. And we have some kind of deterioration of the intimate brain aspect, cellular aspect, neuronal aspect. For example, all of the people with autism, they have inflammation in the brain. We are studying. And the passes, for example, we need to put in action to the patient to try to one opposite action, to take out the inflammation. Because inflammation is consequence of the bad things done in the past and the bad influences of the people suffering or trying a revenge. So we have consequences here and in many other systems of the physical body of the children with autism. So as soon as possible, we need to put the group and the good spirits helping us to help the patients. For example, one autistic patient without spiritual benefit with 30 years, we can open the case, we can care of that spirit, but frequently the results is different. So in medicine, in modern psychiatry, we are studying the babies, we are studying the people with 1 to 3-year-old, what they have that can or could suggest some autistic aspect that will be clear and evident some little or some years after this, to recognize as soon as possible and to address the best in medicine, in psychiatry, modern psychiatry, with very big limitations, sorry, but independently of that, the spiritual approach. Both we need to offer as soon as possible. So 70 years old, no problem. We need to care. Do you understand? Because we have spirits, friends and brothers and sisters waiting for our help, and frequently very distant of that love and light and possibilities of one spiritual remedy or medicine or pills, spiritual pills. Do you understand?
If you guys allow me to ask you a question, I'll ask a question this time. Dr. Thiesen, I would like to go back to the medical field with the journeys that you have put forth for visiting different countries, going to different events, talking to doctors. What can you say as far as in terms of acceptance of this topic? Besides the acceptance, how much do you see in terms of utilizing this practice, or at least connect with some spiritual treatment other than the regular medical treatment from these other doctors that you have talked to?
Well, we have a very mosaic of thinking in psychiatry, because they have different formation, different graduation and post-graduation, and different fields of study. We have many different specialities inside psychiatry. For example, we have psychiatry only that care of children. We have neuropsychiatry. We have many different. So in those big forums in psychiatry, we have many different issues, matters, interests, and different rooms in the people share the proper interests. When I stay with them, we have only, for example, 100, 200 interested in spiritual questions. And the frontier between spirituality and psychiatry. But we have many other different colleagues. They not are motivated to stay with us and to share with me that experience. Because of that, I need to come back. I need to go there, to go to the other country or the city, trying to take that seed and offer to different colleagues in psychiatry, each year, changing the time, but going and doing that trip to help my colleagues. When I help utilizing that different information, I am helping the patients in the future. Many of them will study spirituality. Today, we have in different meetings in Brazil and outside, spirituality and psychiatry. The next one will be in December in Tel Aviv. One segment of the big psychiatry only in terms of spirituality and psychiatry. I will try to be there, because that group is more near this interest. And I would like to find many colleagues from many countries and to share and to learn with them, because they have experiences. And I am learning, I am studying, I am a pupil in terms of psychiatry. Cardiology is different. But in psychiatry, I need to learn with my colleagues.
Thank you. One more question, comment?
Dr. Thiesen, so you said that you give like priority to the cases that are more serious, right? Now, are there in your whole or your list of people that give the problem to you to study, like all kinds of disease, or they are more mental problems, more mental disease?
I se- I separe, I separar. I separate the mental patients to a work, an abstract, only with those kind of problem. But the Spirit Center, it's open to all of the problems from the community. In fluid therapy, in the fluid therapy meetings, we have Alzheimer, we have cancer, different kinds of cancer, different types of cancer. We have cardiovascular disease. We have post-operative of different surgical problems in medicine. We have people that have the consequences of meningitis with mental difficulties. So we have problems in medicine very different in the spectrum of the medical reality in this world. We have children, we have adults of different ages. So we have no, we don't prefer any diagnosis, but this is very clear to us in these recent years. Children, children, children. The number is growing up. I think because one idea of planetary transition, one time to receive spirits with different aspects of troubles in the spiritual world. And this is the time. And because of autism, is very clear very soon in life. They are coming. And we need to care and to do some special environment to them. For example, now we have bonecas, dolls, and cars to offer to the boys and girls to wait their time to be helped in the fluid therapy to children. Do you understand? Because they are very agitated. So we need to do something with the intention that they can stay calm, waiting the time of their moment to be helped in the fluid therapy. In terms of this obsession, we don't need the presence of them inside the center. They are living in the school when possible, in their home, independently, and maybe in the other side of the world.
Thank you. Yasko? He answered. So if we can ask a final question, so we can close this evening. You talked about the environment in general, the treatment here in one country where the person or the family is another country. And you talked about at the beginning of the talk how Emmanuel reminds us the difference in population, the discarnated versus the incarnated one, which is more. I believe it was 2/3, almost 2/3, that is on the other side, connected with us. And this is the point that I would like to make in terms of the psychosomatic feud of the planet Earth and how we, in our small world, can help change this reality. And I know you already mentioned, but I would like to end with this note as a takeaway, as a homework that we can take home and do our part.
It's a very important question. We need to change our minds and our feelings and thoughts. We are vicious from the past to nowadays. We have many different moral problems and moral decisions and moral bad attitudes till now. Imagine in the past. So we have the gospel according to Spiritism. We have all the Spiritist doctrine. We have many different philosophies. We have many different temples and churches. All of them, they invite the people to change. But we need to change. One thing is to learn. One thing is to understand the message. Different thing is to change. I need to put the gospel, because we know as Spiritists more about it, inside our soul or spirit, to change and to the future, to do different as we did in the past. We have only one way. One thing is the passes and the good spirits in this obsession carry all the environment. But this is coming from outside to inside. But we need to change inside. If we don't do that, we will be with different diseases in the future. Disease is a clear manifestation of bad attitudes and choosing of our spirits in the past and in those days. Do you remember the case? We have one idea. We can study all verses of the gospel, but we can stay in the Spiritist Society studying with the regularity that we need. But if we not change in terms of love, caring, compassion, empathy, altruism, to substitute the egoism. Egoism? Yeah? We need to be virtuous in comparing what we are till now. Vicious. This is the way, the only way. And we can see one ascension of one spirit in one kind of escalation by moral aspect, independently of religion. It's not the religion. It's the decision of the people to understand the other people and to live their lives loving, protecting, caring. Because in this world, we can see frequently the opposite. All the good and happy spirits, they are the people that works to help. Do you remember Narcissa in Astral City? Do you remember? Narcissa. André Luiz was a doctor. When he feels better, he tried to ask, I would like to be a doctor here in the colony to help the people, the good spirits. You are not prepared yet. Goes to the camera of rectification. Do you remember Narcissa? Do you remember Narcissa talking about Veneranda, the ministry of the colony? 1 million of hours of work without holidays. 1 million. She's a ministry. The evolution of love is related to the care. And we are thinking about in terms of the earth. Do we remember or imagine what we can understand in terms of moral happiness in Jupiter, in Saturn, or one exoplanet outside this solar system? We have in the Milky Way 200 billions of stars, 1 trillion of planets. Andromeda, our neighbor, 1 trillion of suns. And we are here. We need to change. Moral acquisitions, love, and enlightenment. And we have many different guides to do that. We can choose by affinity. Then, inside, we need to change. It's simple. Thank you for your question. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And I'm
for
sorry
your
because
answer.
of English and many.
Thank you for your time here with us. We hope that we can schedule the next one soon, right? Come and share more of the cases with us. And we also wish you well with you, with your family, your group as well, that you can receive the energy from the other side as well to continue with this work, and gives us inspiration for us to do our part, to change the way we see ourselves and see others as well, and hopefully partake in some way or fashion, on this work that is being done from the other side as well. So thank you again, and we would like to pass then for our final prayer, and we can conclude our evening tonight. Thank you.